Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Julia Masterman. I'm the Science Education and Outreach Coordinator at CUAHSI. Today we're going to be talking about the National Water Center Innovators Program, and we are joined by Raney and Fernando Salas, who, among many other things, are Summer Institute alumni, and they'll be helping us answer some questions in a panel discussion in a moment. But first, I wanted to go through an overview of this program and some logistical information as we get into it. If you have any questions throughout this, please post them in the chat box in Zoom, and we'll be sure to get to those at the end. Thank you. If you also submitted a question via the Google form, we'll get to those as well at the end of the presentation. All right, so as I mentioned, we're just gonna go through a little bit of description of the program, eligibility, and other logistical information, and then a panel discussion with Fernando and Austin about the Summer Institute. So the 6th National Water Center Innovators Program Summer Institute, affectionately called the SI, was originally scheduled to be held last year, but due to COVID restrictions, it has to be postponed and moved virtual. But the program was initially established in 2015 as a partnership between CUAHSI and the National Weather Service to help engage the academic research community and engagement in the national water model. It's an intensive summer program in which graduate students conduct group projects culminating in a capstone presentation. 147 students at 77 universities have been trained in the national water model as a result of this program. Theme leaders from US universities and staff at the National Water Center advise on projects throughout the summer. And to give some context, I wanted to give a little bit of an overview of the National Water Model. The National Water Model is a continental scale model forecasting stream flow and flooding for the continental United States. The National Water Model was operationalized August 2016 on NOAA high performance computing resources. And inputs include USGS hydrogeography and elevation data sets, USDA soil data sets, and NOAA atmospheric forcing data. The model provides stream flow for 2.7 million river reaches across the United States. And this is a huge effort, and thanks to many, many researchers and organizations who are constantly working to improve the aspects of the model. The Office of Water Prediction website linked at the bottom of the slide has a lot more information on this. But in short, this is a huge model, and the Summer Institute allows students an opportunity to advance research on specific aspects of the model while working with the National Water Center. Research projects are arranged into themes, which are meant to guide research questions relevant to the specific interests and goals of the National Water Center. So these themes are chosen with the expectation that these topics will have the most significant impact on improving the model. And so by participating in the Summer Institute, you're working on moving towards these national efforts and goals. Since we've had to move the Summer Institute virtual, there are a couple changes. Research questions on projects are going to be predefined by theme leaders and National Water Center staff. Projects are still designed to contribute to the National Water Center goals, and students will work remotely in teams of 2 to 4 on these projects for the duration of the 7-week program. While there may be some overlap with the students' individual master's or PhD research projects, the expectation is that the work and research done at the Summer Institute will be a separate self-contained project. So expect to be working primarily on that project, only on that project for the entirety of the program. Students will be primarily supervised by a theme leader, but will also work alongside National Water Center staff. For this year, we have 4 potential themes, and the research questions will fall under these very general themes: coupling inland and coastal hydraulics, next generation hydraulic modeling framework and formulations, hydroinformatics, data models and computation in support of continental scale water prediction, and calibration and automated performance testing in support of continental scale water prediction. So if any of these topics sound exciting or interesting to you, we want the best and brightest to consider applying. So if you're a student who wants to write computer code to solve problems, if you're interested in the algorithms and methods behind these large scale models and programs, if you relish the opportunity to work with in diverse groups with peers and experts in the field, and if you want to work in an open source collaborative paradigm, this may be the program for you. A little bit about the summer student experience and the layout of this year's Summer Institute. The first week will be a boot camp of training where you'll get to know the cohort and your teammates. And the outcome of that week will be a project management plan for the summer. So right off the bat in week one, you'll meet who's going to be on your team, what your project is going to be, what the research questions that you're going to be answering for the summer, and get some hands-on training and formal training in both hard and soft skills of collaboration, as well as project management, and then GitHub and other tools that you'll need in order to succeed for the summer. After week one, teams will meet with their project supervisor or theme lead every week. And at the end of each week, the whole cohort will come together and present on the progress that you've made on a project each week. By the end of the Summer Institute, the goal is to have a completed project and a formal final report, and hopefully some potentially publishable science. And each team will present their project at a capstone event where everyone that's worked on the Summer Institute will attend and get to hear about everything you've been up to this summer, as well as your academic advisor is more than welcome to attend that event as well. Just some logistics. Current graduate students affiliated with US universities are eligible to apply. This year, there's a $4,000 honoraria that will be granted to the accepted Summer Institute Fellows. Applications are open now through Proposal Space. The QR code will bring you to the CUAHSI website, which will link you to the application form. The application form has a couple of questions to answer as part of the application. And then we also ask that you submit a statement of interest, a CV, your transcript. It can be an unofficial transcript. It does not need to be the official transcript, as well as a letter of endorsement from your faculty advisor. It's important that advisors are on board with you participating in this project. And it's important to think about maybe not less so this year, but in general, the deadline is close after winter break. So ask for those letters sooner rather than later. So again, the timeline, student applications will close January 19th. Students will be notified of acceptance in February. And then over the summer, from June 7th to July 23rd, accepted students will be working on their projects. So that's a very brief overview of a little bit about the program. And I'm going to open it up to some questions and a quick panel discussion. And so let's stop sharing here. Firstly, we have Austin and Fernando, and I was wondering if you could each introduce yourselves and we can get this started. So Austin, you want to go first?
Yeah, certainly. Thanks, Julia. My name is Austin Rainey. I am a current master's student at the University of Alabama, as well as a pathway student employee at the National Water Center. My research background is in geography, physical geography, and computer science. And I apply those concepts to try and better parameterize models, specifically the National Water Model. I was a 2019 Summer Institute participant, and if it weren't for COVID, I would have been a course coordinator for the 2020 planned Summer Institute. So my heart and soul is all in the Summer Institute, and it's a absolutely fantastic program.
Thanks. Fernando?
Hey, thanks. So I'm Fernando Salas. I'm a federal employee at the National Water Center. I've been here for about 5 years now. Actually started as a contractor with UCAR for the first few years, and then a couple of years ago, an opportunity came up to become a federal employee, so jumped on that. And since then, been the technical lead on several different projects in the hydroinformatics space, and then also very much focused on establishing some of our inundation mapping efforts and deploying that at the continental scale. So been working with a team to build out all of those capabilities. Before joining the Water Center, I came from the University of Texas at Austin. I got my master's and PhD and kind of specialized in the application of geographic information systems and just information systems in general to hydrology and hydrologic modeling. And towards the end of my career there, had the opportunity to meet and connect really with the Weather Service, and got the chance to shadow what some of the forecasting operations are like, and then also got an opportunity to go observe kind of how all these different agencies and entities work together to respond to flood events in the Emergency Operations Center in Austin, Texas, which is like underground, like 5 floors underground through like a 2-foot steel door, like bunker type thing. Anyway, my point is, had the opportunity to observe kind of how all of us kind of work together to respond to all these different emergencies and stuff. And so that was a really cool opportunity, but also kind of saw some gaps and saw how some of the research that I was working on at the time could help kind of solve some of those problems. And so I really became interested in supporting the Weather Service and what they've been doing. And so all that kind of evolved to kind of the alpha version, I guess, of the National Water Model. And so worked with a team to establish that. And then we worked to build the first to establish the first Summer Institute with CUAHSI back in 2015, I think. And so worked with a huge team there. So we established a bunch of different projects, and it was a really cool opportunity to bring in a bunch of innovative ideas and help shape how our mission has evolved over the last few years. So anyway, I've been involved from the beginning, and since then been trying to support in all the years that have followed. So yeah, this is a really great opportunity.
Yeah, no, thank you. So the first question is kind of, what has been the most valuable takeaway from the Summer Institute in each of your opinions, and how, I guess in Austin's case, how has the participation in the Summer Institute contributed to your professional development? So Austin, do you want to go first?
Yeah, for sure. To my professional development, I would say the Summer Institute in particular, every single Friday during the Summer Institute, teams are to give a presentation to both their SI cohort as well as National Water Center leadership and theme leads. And just that experience alone, and having to every single week put together your thoughts, make them concise, and present them to your peers as well as your superiors is one of the best takeaways for me personally. It helped me grow tremendously as a communicator and knowing what to say and what not to say. I think one of the things that the Summer Institute really is fantastic at is allowing students at the graduate level to work in a team outside of like a team project that you would do in a class. You truly are collaborators at that point at the Summer Institute, and you have to have really good communication skills. You have to work well together. And yeah, you just kind of, I grew up as in my academic career in portions of the Summer Institute just by the collaborative experience itself. as to how it differs from maybe academia and your regular research, I would say it's a whole lot less formal, but not in a bad way. It is just being able to talk to everyone on the same level, no matter if they have a PhD, no matter if they're a master's student. It just the barrier for entry is just like everyone is on the same playing field. And that just really is comforting, as well as I was able to grow more because of that kind of environment. I was never, I didn't feel intimidated, and that's really beneficial, and another great outcome from the SI. I guess that's my contribution to the question. What about you, Fernando?
So, like I said, answer in several different ways. On the technical side, I think the Summer Institute provides an opportunity to not only learn some new techniques, so formally, right, we usually set up some formal training, like was mentioned earlier. So maybe learning how to run different models or different analytical techniques. So those opportunities are offered. But then there's opportunity to learn from your peers and your colleagues, right? So people are coming in from universities all across the country, working on different parts of, the water enterprise. And so, naturally through conversations, you get to learn about what everyone else is doing and get kind of a more holistic picture of how the research that you're doing back home, how that fits into kind of the whole community, right? That's working on evolving our water resources capabilities and things like that. So technically there's all those opportunities, I think, that come up, which is great. You also learn, we talked a little bit about kind of GitHub and the software development practice a little bit earlier. So kind of refining and sharpening those skills is always good too. And really kind of working towards, creating or delivering a product, right, or a capability. And then starting simple with something and then evolving that and just building more features and more things to that and adding more complexity. So I think those opportunities are things that you get an opportunity to refine. And then maybe on the softer side, because it's, a 7-week kind of compressed timeline, you really do learn how to communicate more effectively with not only your peers, but your teammates. But as Austin said, with the people you're presenting to and providing updates. I think often, we think communicating is like, okay, I'm articulating my thought and that's effective communication, right? But you don't really effectively communicate unless the other person or the other people on the other side are receiving the message that you think you're communicating, right? And so I don't think there's always opportunities to refine that. And so I think working within a kind of a fast-paced kind of atmosphere, I think you get to sharpen those skills. So that's an important thing. Obviously, just in general, working with teams, working with different personalities, always good to work on that. Decision-making and prioritizing, again, you only have like 7 weeks, right, to work on a specific thing. I know we want to do everything, but we just don't have the time to. So being able to prioritize and decide what you need to work on, today or tomorrow, and then how to solve challenges, right? There's always going to be things that come up. And so just kind of being creative on how you can maneuver past those challenges and make progress. Those are really things that kind of the Summer Institute process really kind of forces you to do. So yeah, not only technical stuff, but also kind of the softer skills. Those are all things I think are important, not only in your research careers, but also professionally as you evolve.
Yeah, no, thank you. Those are great answers. We had a couple of questions come in via the chat, both related to programming. So what programming languages are most commonly used by the National Water Center? And then additionally, do you have to be especially proficient in coding to be eligible, or kind of what, how much coding experience should you have going in? I can start to answer the latter question, how proficient do you need to be in coding to be eligible? I think you need to have some basic understanding of coding, but people come in with a range of backgrounds. And I think, Fernando, could you talk a little bit more about the programming languages that are most commonly used?
Sure. I mean, there's a range of languages. I would say most common as part of like the early development stages of things is be like Python or R. Those seem to be kind of well accepted community languages, I guess, for scientific development. So those are certainly languages that we use pretty often, but certainly we also work closely with our software engineers to implement more efficient and more efficient code, right? And so yeah, with those we'll C Sharp, or some of our operational models, right, in the weather service and the legacy ones certainly use our coders in Fortran. So anyway, I think Python and R are really the most common things that we use, and we try to work with software engineers to implement more efficient code that runs faster and can scale. But at least in the kind of development part of it, we try to implement capabilities, get things started, right, solve some of the technical challenges, and then work with the other parts of the other teams, right, to actually implement things into a more refined version of it.
Yes. And Austin, kind of from a participant perspective, how much coding should folks have coming in?
I think that you covered it well. I was definitely biased more towards programming experience. However, I think as long as you've used a language for some amount of time and are familiar with some programming concepts, then you should do well. I think it's probably better to know like a version control software like Git, and you can learn whatever programming language that you're using for the summer. Definitely know Git and how to use it in GitHub, because that is pinnacle to to success in open source software paradigm.
Thank you. So another question came in: who will the theme leaders be? Are they NOAA employees? So to answer that, theme leads are generally faculty members at US institutions. So other academic researchers that are doing work that aligns with these themes outlined by the National Water Center kind of lead these projects alongside National Water Center staff. So you can kind of think of it as the project supervisor or leader will have a similar role to your academic advisor or PI, but National Water Center staff, as well as other folks, will be there to help advise along the way and mentor various projects. So it's a bit of different. There's more support than in that you have a lot of experts helping on every project, but the main theme lead will likely be an academic advisor. Another thing to note is that different themes of different projects with different academic advisors in different areas of expertise. So of course, the students that are joining these theme projects are coming in with different areas of expertise. I guess, Austin, could you speak a little bit about how your team worked for your project theme? Was everyone kind of homogeneous in their background, or how was the team dynamic and how did that go?
So yeah, of course. I was in the hydroinformatics theme for the project that we worked on. And no, we all had very diverse, different backgrounds. One student was very heavily in the applied math. Another student was in civil engineering, and then I am in geography. So we all came together in a great amalgamation of our different skill sets, and were able to accomplish our project, as well as I think having a diverse background, like Jared mentioned in the chat, it's kind of what you want in a team at the SI. It works well because everyone brings something different to the table.
Yeah, And I think, Fernando, you mentioned this at the beginning, that part of the reason why the Summer Institute was created was to bring folks with different backgrounds in to help solve some of these problems. So yes, definitely don't be, if you're really, really good at Python, or you're really, really good at geospatial analysis and you're not sure about your skills in other areas, you never know that you might have that one skill that that one team needs in order to succeed. So we had another question come in. Is it necessary that I should be working on my current areas of research? So while whatever you're currently working on might be related to what you're interested in working on for the Summer Institute, it's not necessarily the case, doesn't need to be the case, because you probably won't be working on your current area of research while you're participating in the Summer Institute. Whatever project you work on in the Summer Institute could be completely separate from the research that you're engaging in. But when looking at applications, from an applicant standpoint, having that interest in specific themes and using code to solve these big problems, the skills is more important than the subject matter itself. Fernando, do you want to speak a little bit more to that, of relating Summer Institute work to their academic work?
Yeah, I think that's in part some of the conversations that you'd have to have with your own advisors, right? About them allowing you to participate in this program, whether it fully aligns, right, with the funding that you have for your research or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I think the opportunity here to work with a cohort of a bunch of different colleagues with a bunch of different perspectives on how to tackle different parts of the water problems that we face. I mean, I think those are things that pay off tenfold kind of in the long run, right? I think it makes you a better researcher. It makes you, helps you learn how to solve the problems in various different ways, or maybe think about the problem in a different way, which could spur a new idea, right? And kind of get you through a research block that you've hit. So I think it's a good investment as a whole on, your research career, professionally. Maybe, those 2 weeks or something, you're not specifically trying to solve that particular research problem or whatever, but I think in the long run, it is definitely beneficial to the quality of your research. You just learn so much from all the people that you start interacting with and that you get to meet, that I think it just pays dividends.
Yeah, kind of to a similar question related to that is, do you have any advice on how to bring this up to an advisor? Say, like, I'm taking the summer off my thesis and I want to go work on something different. Do you have any words of wisdom on how to pose that to an advisor?
That's a good question. I guess just along the same lines of what I was saying, I think, if you want to communicate, I guess, that, by participating in this program, these are the things that you can learn, right? And this is how those particular skills, whether they're technical or softer skills, right, how they are going to be a benefit back to what you're already doing. So, I guess that's kind of how I approach it, and that's how I approach, I guess, other parts of my job today, right? When I see opportunities that come up, either for professional development or opportunities to evolve some of the things that we're working on, I always try to craft the story of how, by doing this, this will be a benefit in this way, and then try to back that up and justify it. And you'll often find that if you can tell a nice story, right, that you can usually get the support that you need. So, I mean, I would just say, if you think this is of interest to you and you want to participate, I think just showing the passion and trying to put that story together, I think your advisors will respect that, right? They'll like the energy that you're showing, the initiatives that you're taking, and also thinking about the responsibilities you already have, right, and how you're going to improve that when you get back. So yeah, I would just try to tell kind of that type of story, and yeah, just be open.
Yep. Yeah, that's great advice. Additionally, there is a community that's sprung up kind of around the Summer Institute. There are many, I think over 100 students have participated in the Summer Institute in some way, and many theme leads as well. So if students do run into an issue like that, or an advisor wants to learn more, please reach out to, there's a contact us tab on the CUAHSI website, or reach out directly to former theme leads. You can see previous kind of final reports on the CUAHSI website as well. And definitely reach out to anyone who's to previous theme leads to learn more about how it's fit in with students' workload and their summer. So another kind of logistical question that someone has submitted was, how does the current iteration of the Summer Institute affect the international student participation? So because this is a virtual Summer Institute and students don't need to physically be in the National Water Center in Alabama, it does open it up to more participation from folks located in many different places or with different situations that wouldn't have enabled them to travel to the Water Center for the summer, which is great. However, the eligibility of students at US affiliated institutions is still there, but hopefully this opens it up to more folks overall. In the chat, someone asked, how many hours per week should student expect to be working on the Summer Institute? Austin, could you maybe speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, certainly. When the Summer Institute is in Tuscaloosa, it is a full-time gig. You're working 12-hour days at the Water Center, and then as the summer progresses, more hours at night, depending on your project. Not really even depending on your project. You're working longer hours at night as well. Yeah, so a lot. But at the same time, building camaraderie with your teammates and with your cohort, it's, the time goes by so quickly, even if you are working really hard a lot of the time. A lot of times I didn't even realize it, so.
Yeah, with a virtual Summer Institute, I would definitely expect it to be a full-time gig still. The hope is that with kind of increased, or with a big focus on project management and kind of how to collaborate virtually, we'll still be able to replicate some of that camaraderie and also kind of maybe steer some projects. But I think Austin will maybe agree with me when I say this, is that generally when students come to the Summer Institute, they're so excited about the projects that they're able to work on. It's hard to say that they want to stop or they don't want to take I appreciate the nodding, because you can always do more. And so I think that's maybe one of the benefits of the Summer Institute, is that we tend to get a lot of really excited students working on these projects. All right. Let's see, do we have any other questions that we haven't gone through yet? Oh, here's one. Does each project theme work on one project, or are there multiple projects within the theme? Additionally, do students choose the project that will be worked on within the theme? So this depends of how many projects there are per theme. It depends on the number of research questions that are predetermined, and also oftentimes depends on the cohort of students that are accepted. So kind of as we mentioned earlier, project teams are having a range of expertise and skill levels in each project team is kind of what makes each team great. So it really depends. And especially with a virtual cohort and likely a relatively small cohort, it will really depend on who all we're lucky enough to have join us this summer. So this summer, there'll be 10 to 12 students hopefully accepted to the Summer Institute. So it'll be a smaller cohort, but this is to enable as much camaraderie and collaboration in a virtual setting as possible. All right, are there any other questions from anybody? Doesn't look like it. Anything else that you'd like to add, Fernando or Austin?
Let's see. I would just say that, you know, one of the things that drew me to really coming to work at the Water Center was just the collaboration aspects of everything. I mean, the building itself was built for collaboration, not only with collaborating with NOAA Weather Service close partners like the USGS, Army Corps of Engineers, FEMA, but also others. You know, those buildings like that don't get built every day, right? So I knew that it was going to be something special, and getting the opportunity to work on something at kind of the ground level, there's a lot of potential to try to impact, right, how the whole solution is evolved. And the Summer Institute is very much along that path, right? So, you know, we try to facilitate this thing called research to operations, R2O, and it really starts with engaging the whole research community, channeling some of the innovative efforts through the Summer Institute, working with our development teams, and eventually our goal is to deploy things into operations so that they're used, you know, every day, you know, to keep people out of harm's way, right? So I think that's a really cool and unique aspect of this program, is just that connection to the operational stuff. We have an operations center in our building. You know, of course, unfortunately that we won't be there in person, but still, we have the connections with the people. And so what's really cool as part of this whole pipeline is working on something and then getting that rapid feedback from our operations team, being like, hey, oh, this is cool, but could we do this, this, and that? And then instantly being able to, you know, meet those needs, refine them, and then deliver an improved product that then they're using, right, every day or something. So anyway, just that whole connection, I think, is just really cool and unique to really know in the Weather Service. And so, yeah, I think this program is really cool. And then again, just a great opportunity to meet a bunch of colleagues doing a lot of really innovative and impactful research around the country. You'll build your network, grow professionally, sharpen a lot of different type of skills, and learn a bunch of cool tech stuff too. So yeah, encourage you guys to apply, and yeah, I hope to talk to you guys soon.
Yeah, thank you. Austin, any closing remarks?
Yeah, and just to spring off of what Fernando mentioned, I saw that Ed is on the call, and not to quote Ed. Ed is the director of the Water Center. The Summer Institute is his 7 favorite weeks of the entire year, because you have fresh minds, you have people who have a lot of energy and are excited. And I think one of the things that Fernando was hinting at is Water Center leadership has really bought into the Summer Institute and into students who want to make a difference and who want to push the ball forward, if you will, in the realm of water science. And I think the way that Fernando described it, of Summer Institute projects being a way to test out ideas as well as to conduct science, and then you start to slowly push the ball, and then the ball gets to the development stage and then to the production stage. You're a part of that entire process, and that can be said for both the process itself as well as the people involved. There are so many Water Center staff who are fantastic, and who will sit down and have a fantastic conversation with you. I think Ed and others have done a really good job of selling the Water Center on the Summer Institute. So I hope that both Fernando and I have been able to sell some of you students on the SI as well, as it was for sure very impactful for me in my career. All
right, well, that seems like a good place as any to wrap it up. I don't know if we need the whole hour. If there aren't any last minute questions, I think we'll end it here. But thank you everyone for joining us. This will be recorded and posted on the CUAHSI website. A huge thank you to Austin and Fernando for joining us and sharing their experience and expertise. And we hope to hear from you all in the future. If you have any more questions about the Summer Institute, feel free to reach out. I'm going to post the website in the chat. That has a lot more information, as well as a contact us link and the link to the application form as well. So thank you very much and have a good rest of your evening.
Thanks, Julia.
Thanks, everyone.